Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is Kerbal Space Program. And we're looking out over a nice sea and surrounding area. A little changed from normally how it starts with the game. That's because we've got a few mods running. And after last episode, where I'd asked the question about mods, thank you for all of those that did respond in comments or messages, and had a think about it and some changes. So I'd just like to say what I've done and why. So first thing is, we're using the CKAN system, which is CKAN, and I'll link to it in the description below, for installing mods. Now with this particular program, it does make it easy for our mods to be added to a working Kerbal Space program without any problems, so it's easy for people to follow. So that was one of the original issues I had. You know, it's easy for people to add. Just with running one program, you can add many mods depending on what you choose from a long list. So all the mods I am using and have used and will use, unless there's a specific reason, will be installed and monitored by CKAN, so we can update them and work out if there's any dependencies, etc. So that's a great benefit for the game in general, having that, rather than people having to work out what directories to put them into and how to copy and working out dependencies, etc. They just have to click it in CKAN, say apply, and it sorts it out for them, which is great. So the other part of mods is there's three types of mods, as far as I'm aware, and when I say that is how I categorize the three types of mods. Now the first one is called I'm classing as visual enhancements. As you can see, we've got nice clouds and some other visual improvements, and they don't really change gameplay. They are just good for video and making everything look good. So I've installed some packs which include in visual enhancements package and some of the astronomers enhancements packs, just to give a little prettier view. Some of them didn't work quite well. They gave some anomalies, but generally they've worked. The other side has been what I class for the career mode is contracts, and there's quite a few contract packages to look at. Now I've installed some based upon what I want to do in the game. Now some of those are tourism pack, so to get more tourists into the game, so that we can take Kerbals out to space stations and other facilities, and just have a reason to go there. So the other ones have been to help find items and anomalies, and just slightly different ones. Nothing too outrageous, just additional contracts to what we normally have, which we'll go and have a look at in a minute. The other third category is gameplay systems. Now gameplay are items which in my view make a change to the way the game works, in that it gives you an ability you didn't have, or changes the way you access something. Now one of them I use already is called the engineer program, which displays data about our height and apoapsis and periapsis, etc. And I'm keeping that because visually that's okay. The data would normally be available to you on the map. It just means I can stay in the normal view, which is visually nicer to look at when making a video. Some other ones I have installed is the alarm clock function, which just means on the longer journeys I can leave it to sort out the warping itself, which is good. Now a couple of others that I've added, I'm stayed away from MechJeb for a reason which I'll discuss in a second, but I haven't made anything that added anything abnormal. I have added those ScanSat, which is a satellite scanning system, but I've made it work with stock parts, so there's not suddenly lots of new items. I've added it as a stock part system, but I need to look at that side because I think it'd be handy for what I have planned. Other items, I'm just trying to, other bit is a ship manifest. A ship manifest just allows me to transfer fuel and Kerbals a little easier on the stations we're going to. We've already shown how to do it without anything, but ship manifest will just speed that part up. Now, my decision and choice on mods to use has been dictated in some ways by what I want to do in the game. Now, quite simply, I enjoy flying the ships. It's a challenge. I have to be concentrated. That's one of the reasons I don't want MechJeb or some of the programs that overly automate. Sorry, video just cut there for a second. Yeah, I was just saying I don't want to make it too easy because I enjoy putting the concentration down on flying the aircraft, the spaceships. It makes me have to concentrate, and although it can be laborious at times, it's a part of the game I really enjoy. The other side I enjoy is building things, so building spaceships, but also the space stations, the bases, and other items, that will come in. So some of the mods that I'm looking at, such as the tourism mod, is so that I have a reason to build the bases to get tourist people there, and eventually I might add another mod or two, which is like population, which allows you to create bigger bases and actually have people go there and try to live there, and you have to create food for them, water, etc. like that. So we can go along there. I have thought of realism mods, but I'm just stay away from those because they do change something away from the standard part of the game. So okay, that's the reasons I want to do what we're going to do. So in the contracts, I've taken a few contracts. Now, one of the new ones that came along is this like tourism picks off. This is the start of the tourism plus pack, where we just have to get a particular Kerbal up into space for 4 hours. Get quite a bit of money and some prestige. There has been a where are we? We've got a second one. This is the builder station around the Mun, but we have actually got where we build a new orbital station around Kerbin, but it has to have 8 Kerbals. So this is going to be quite a large space station. We've then got and also we've had a new rescue Kerman from Ludicry Kerman, and it's quite a difficult one because it's quite an inclined orbit. If we go and have a look at it in the Space Center, it's this one here. There we go. You see, it's quite a elliptical orbit. Obviously a failure to try and get in and out of the Mun, or potentially. So we'd have to build a ship to do this rescue. Potentially when Ludicrous Derelict comes quite close to coming, we've got to get out to that point and time our capture and intercept to go with their capsule. There is already, we've got also a Latina with Latines, which is a Kermin stranded on the Mun, and that is someone else who we will have to go and capture. Now, I'm going to continue on with our original plan. I've taken those and we've got some time to sort those out. But they're the sort of things that we're going to start getting. Some slightly more exciting contracts, hopefully, which will be a challenge for me, which is what I like to do. But at the moment, we're going to go and have a look at the Mun space station, which is something which I have renamed. So let's go and take control of that. And on our space station, I have ferried up some Kerbals. We have Paula, who's our pilot. And then we have, let's see, Barley, I think, is our scientist. Bob I think he's also is it Bob or Bill? One of those is also one's an engineer and one's a scientist. I think by the looks of it, I think Bill is our Kermin, is our engineer, because I think he's in the crew pod. If I go here, yeah, that looks like the crew pod to me, from by the looks of it. So if we now, whereas the other two look like they are in the science lab. So they are enjoying their time in there, getting ready to science the crap out of stuff. So, which is good. Let me just get out of this view. There we go. Right, so I keep on forgetting that key, C. Right, so what we're going to do, I didn't very efficiently get our Kerbals up here. I do need to build a better vehicle. I have got a little taxi that does go up and down from here, but it only has one problem, is it has to land on land. If it lands on the water, it tends to blow up a little bit, which is not good. So what we're going to do now, though, is just get our station in orbit around the Mun. So that's our task on this one. So it's quite a larger vessel. Now, the only difference to normal, I wouldn't normally do this, except I've got a plan. I has a plan. So if we set target as Mun, I want to I'm going to go to the Mun quickly. What I want to do is set the orbit of our space station to not be polar like this is and this lander, and not equatorial like the Mun tanker is, or polar like this this satellite here that we could get paid for to do. I want to create a I'm trying to think what the right word is, but 45 degrees. So its center point is still going through the polar line, but it's going to be at 45 degrees to this line. So it's going to be level here. It'll be sort of like going 45 degrees through this angle of the planet. Now the reason for that is, as the planet rotates around, we would effectively, except from some little bits on the pole, go over just about every single part of this planet, of the Mun. Which means when we start scanning and stuff like that, we can put things onto the craft, which will effectively allow us to scan the whole place. Also, if we're land down, or have to land at a particular place, we just have to wait, and at some point we will be close enough to that point to have an easier landing and takeoff. It's only a matter of patience. So I want to try and get our initial intercept to actually come in at an angle, rather than having it just come into the equatorial and then have to adjust it, because that's a lot of fuel. Making that change means a big change of about 300. So if we can do it at this initial intercept at an angle, that would be better. Now what I'm thinking is, if we incline our orbit around Kerbal a little first, and we'll test that out, we should be able to hit this at a lower angle, so when the gravity pulls us, it pulls us up instead of just straight along. But it's going to be close. We're going to be tight on this here. So let's just have a look. Now we might be able to do it all on the initial burn. So if we take our 90-degree mark, which is going to be about there, and we'll get into the area first. So we've set that as a target. If we just set that so it's starting to get a intercept, there we go. And we're going to have a fairly high whoops, that's a bit too far, as you can see. Okay, we're going to have a fairly high and actually, in fact, oh, would you believe it, it's already done about right. So what we can do is, can we change that angle by changing these values here? By changing, that's what I want to have a look at. What is the value that changes our elliptical orbit? And that's definitely coming in low, so we would have to bring that up a bit further. What is the bit that needs to change? If we take it back a bit on our orbit, yeah, that seems to be changing it. Right, now bring it forward. Whoops, too much. So 45 degrees would be nice. That's 200. That's a little far away. I just want to be a little bit closer. And now that's too inclined. So I want to go the other way. Can I get it to go the opposite direction? No, it's going the wrong way now. No, okay. Now, but I might be able to... Whoops. So once you take it too far one way, I've got to take it back the other way. Okay, let me sort this out. See if we can get it to work. Right, well, I've just about got a reasonable encounter now. 40k at the periapsis, about 45 degrees, so we can just stabilize that a little bit as we get closer. What I found was the best idea here, if I can just get back to Kerbal without modifying anything, was to first of all change our inclination. So we're doing first of all a very small maneuver first to change our descending node. I changed it to a 1 degree approximately on the original vector when we were here. I don't think we'll see the proper one, but I changed it to a 1 degree rather than it was about 2.4 when we were doing it first. So that's going to be the key, 1 degree inclination difference between the Mun and the Mun orbit and our own. Then I was able to get it, and it came out as a relatively nice. So we've got two waypoints. We're going to have, first of all, this first one at 45 meters a second delta V, then the second one, which is the big 824 we need to burn. So okay, let us come round to this burn point, and then we will start the first burn and then hopefully get in time for the second one. So back in a minute. So we're 1 minute to burn time now, and I'm not sure how much this will be. I'm not expecting a lot of burn required for this, so we'll just give it about, I think hopefully it's going to be about 20 seconds. So we'll go at 10 seconds too. Now using our flight engineer, we can see our relative inclination here is 2.3, so we need to stop when that gets to about 1 degree. So that's what we can use to gauge if our angle is correct. So are we ready? 10 seconds to go. Everyone is excited to be in space heading for the Mun. So we'll do it about 10 seconds too, I think. If the first burn is too much, we'll back off. No, I think that looks like that's going to be about right. Relative inclination is going down. 7, 6, 5, 4. Slowing down a little bit just to make it a little bit more accurate. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to take it down to the full 0. There. And now I went too far. Oh well, never mind, eh? 0.98. Okay. So we now got the next one. Now, before we go to the next one, I'm going to check to make sure it's still valid as far as this goes. I want to make sure that we're still going to be heading in to our target. So if I basically double click on the Mun, it puts us on the focus there, and we will be able to see if I now click on our point here. Is that still valid? I'm not sure that that is still valid. Let's just... There we go. Just needed a slight modification. Yeah, that's okay. 46. That's going to put us roughly 45 degrees. We'll modify it as a second burn just before we come in. So once again, let's take us back to our ship. Get relatively turned towards the new point. Whoops, that's totally the wrong way. Doesn't matter. Come on. Down and that way. Excellent. That's a good and ready to go. That's built like that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we are ready. We're still going to be getting fuel, energy while we're going on here. Right, let's just get up to the point. Right, that's 3 minutes to burn, so we're going to start our burn now. This is quite a big burn, this one. One time only, hopefully. Ooh, I think that burn time was optimistic. I was a little late with it as well. We've only got a very small engine doing the burn here, but that was intentional. We're in vacuum. We don't need a big engine. It's more a matter of just getting there rather than how long it takes us. So our engineers are quite happily watching everything burn. Everyone seems fairly happy at the moment, sitting in the crew compartments. I haven't had a look. What's the crew compartment in here like? This cupola? Oh, yeah, quite good vision. You can see Kerbal underneath. Emergency PS. I have all the snacks. Oh, I've taken all of the snacks. Terrible, but we've got good visibility from here, which is excellent. Right, okay, 2 more minutes of burn left. Again, when it gets near to the 0 mark, what I'll do is I'll slow down so that we can try and capture at the same time. Try and get as close as I can to that marker. Now, one thing I want to see is, and this is something I might have to look at a mod, is over time will this our space station's orbit around the Mun change relative to Kerbal? So we're gonna this could make it more difficult when we're having to do intercept vehicles, because we have to think a day in advance. But we'll look into that. That could be problematic. It could be just something we've got to work with. But we're going to put the station into that orbit regardless anyway. So let's see. We've still got time to go. Let's see how it's looking on here. We can see it's increasing. Our apparatus is increasing quite nicely. You can see for this other one where we're going to have to try and capture it. When you know, we've got this such a large high orbit. I mean, this capture vehicle here is going to have to be quite large actually. Well, quite a lot of fuel, good amount of fuel to get there and back again. But we've got with the current mission we need to focus on at the moment. So okay, it's going to start to accelerate now. Yep, that's accelerating because we're getting close. I'm turning down the throttle so that hopefully, if everything is gone right, we're drifting off this marker here, but I'm ignoring it because that's just because as we're getting closer. I don't think we need to be on that marker any longer. We're just going to have to go with what it gives us. Here it's coming in. We can see the marker here. I'm hoping this will turn around a little more. There we are, it's coming in. Right, that has not worked out as I want at all. We're going to have to retrograde burn. That's quite bad, actually. That's not good. It's going to be close, but we're going to have to redo that, I think. Yeah. Yep. We have to do a second burn. That's annoying. That's very annoying. I should have refocused our trajectory. Never mind. Let's do it now. Right, we'll add a maneuver now, sooner rather than later. If I bring that back again. Okay, we've got recaptured a sufficient trajectory. So let's put myself on the correct course now. And it's up and that way. And we're going to be a little bit closer now. We're just going to keep on this marker this time. And just go for the burn. In 15 seconds time, and we're just going to try and keep it on the blue marker. I must have just let it waver off a bit too much, so let's just give it some burn and make sure we stay on course this time. Let's see where that's put us. That's not bad. That's not bad. Let's see if we can just get that in. If I burn a little bit more. No, that's burning us out, not in. So that's not good. Okay, but that's got us close. Let's now, we can do a final burn here. Just to get us into a little bit more stable orbit. And this will be take a little bit more delta V. But maybe I should have done this, this way in the first place. But what I need to do is try and get this to around 40. So you can see it's taking a lot more, but at least if it does the job, I'm not gonna moan. We just need to get into orbit at the moment. We haven't got much fuel and oxidizer left, so this could be... Let's see. Since we haven't got much fuel and oxidizer, we need to do this as early as possible. Right, so... which means all I'm going to aim for is a little burn here, just to put us on that 50 degree. Because how much do we need? I need 200 to put me into 300 to put me into Lone Mun orbit. Have I got enough fuel left? Oh, maybe not. Well, let's see if we can do this. What's the worst that can happen? Let's just see if some little burns like this will be enough. This 4.8 here is better than the 100 there, but we're going to need a whole lot when we get to this point. So let's see how close I can get, and we'll hopefully see me orbiting around the Mun. Right, 12 seconds. So about 6 seconds too. We'll just give it full beans. Use all the fuel that's available. And just put us, and we'll basically use the RCS as well if need be to give us some extra boost. So at 6 seconds we'll give it full power. Full power. That burn's gone up significantly, giving it full RCS as well. But we have orbital, so we are now orbital around here. I think we'll have enough. We will have enough fuel. Just start bringing the power down so I can get that close to being circular as I can. That stopped burning for some reason. Why is that? That should still be okay. We are actually out of oxidizer. Okay, we're gonna have to use RCS then. Turn the RCS on. Right, due to the amount of time that is going to take on RCS, 48 minutes, I don't think that's worth trying to do at this time. We are in an orbit, although slightly elliptical. What we'll need to do is just refill, I think, the main fuel tank and get that to be our, you know, we burn on this orbit. It's close to being where I wanted it, where I want it. Actually, what I wanted was this to be through our orbit line and 45 degrees. So in that regard, it's just about where I liked, where I wanted. What we'll see is in a little bit is how far it goes away from this orbit. What I might do is I will do one maneuver at our next option around, just to bring us down a little bit so we can get into that orbit. We'll use RCS and just see how much RCS fuel it's going to take to get us down. You can see there's a good 100 or so missing there. Yeah, I think that's going to take like an hour of RCS, which we don't have enough fuel for. So we're going to have to send a tanker out, which is fine because we need to send another ship out here as our return vessel, as well as just a refueling vessel to hold and build up our station a little bit better. So we'll send out a ship with plenty of fuel to resupply this. It's a one-way trip. It's basically going to be drone controlled. And I'll do that offline, ready for the next episode. Because on the next episode, what we're going to try and do is use the lander, refuel the lander that's here. That's another reason I will take this. If we go and switch to this one here, this lander, to go and rescue Ludimar. Now, what we'll need is the tanker to put some fuel in this, because this is out of liquid fuel and monopropellant, so it needs both. So we need to dock with this ship with enough fuel, etc., to be able to resupply so it can land in the right place. So we're going to need a fair fueled vehicle. So we're going to send out basically a whole load of fuel tanks to the area, up to the station, to refuel the station and also refuel this lander. so it's going to be it might have to be 2. So I'll get that sorted and docked, ready for the next episode. So, as always, leave any comments below. It's sort of successful. We are in the right area. It's not quite as well as I thought. I was inefficient. My problem, I think, when I came from Kerbal, I should have been watching the angle, and if I'd have got that angle more correct and not needed those extra burns, we could quite possibly have had enough fuel. I was possibly shy a little bit of fuel in the station's engines. I'd obviously miscalculated and only allowed for the Mun intercept. I hadn't allowed for the low Mun orbit burn, I think, enough. I think I may have allowed 200 instead of 300, and so I possibly just got the figures a little bit wrong there. So, oh well, you live and learn as such. So, until next time, keep playing, keep leaving the comments, but above all, have fun.